All right, so I've had some people reaching out to me recently that are saying that they need to downsize and they can't really find a house under 250 grand that's a good fit for them. And I've got two listings right now that actually are great options for people who are going to be downsizing. And today we're going to be walking through both just so I can show you that the houses are out there and it's possible and very attainable to get into a downsize home or maybe a starter home, something that's on one level, just so you don't have to worry about going up and down stairs. And these two listings are the type that you can actually move right into without having to do any work to. One of them is fully updated and the other one has had some updates throughout time, but they're both in really great condition and they'll both make incredible options for someone who is trying to do a downsize and hit that more average market price for what our areas are selling for. So the first house that we're going to be seeing today is going to be a 3-bedroom, 1.5 bathroom, and it's got 1,600 square feet. Now, like I said, this house has been updated, and it's one of those that is just a really great opportunity for someone who's trying to look for that perfect downsize home that they can move right into and not really do anything to. Now, this house has been really well maintained over the years. The roof's only a couple years old. The furnace and the hot water tank are less than 10 years old. You've got some brand new waterproofing down in the basement. It's got a French drain that wraps around the whole inside and it leads into a sump pump, so that way you're never gonna have any water issues as far as that goes, because that's a pretty common problem in Ohio. Is all of these houses are older houses and the clay tile that brings the water away sometimes collapses and it just doesn't hold up super well over time. Now, the other thing is that most of the windows in this house have been updated as well, so you're gonna get that energy efficiency and you're not gonna have to worry about keeping up with that and potentially replacing them down the line. And this house is located on a cul-de-sac, so it's incredibly quiet. You've got a couple schools nearby, so you might have some kids walking up the street when they're coming home from school. However, since there is no through access, you're not going to really have that traffic that would be coming through if you were anywhere else in this neighborhood. And this house is listed at $230,000. It's located in Parma, Ohio. So you are below that $250,000 threshold, where if you are in a multiple offer situation and you have to go over list price, you definitely have some space left over to do so. Now, as far as the interior on this house goes, you walk right into the living room and it's an incredibly open feeling where you've got this large bay window over here off to the right, and it's got some seating on it with some storage underneath where you overlook the front yard, so you have a perfect view of everything that's going on outside. And as you work your way further into the house, you'll notice that you have your dining room, which is adjacent to the kitchen. And this kitchen has some very modern updates to it that are incredibly tasteful and I think timeless in my personal opinion. You're gonna have these wooden cabinets that go all the way to the ceiling. They're the 40-inch cabinets, so you don't really have to deal with not having enough storage space, and these cabinets are just in incredible shape. And if you really wanted to add some different hardware to it, it'll be that extra touch that will make it feel incredibly modern and almost brand new. Now, the other thing that this kitchen has is going to be the granite countertops. Now, this granite is almost a maintenance-free source. You have the opportunity to spill stuff on it and not really let it stain. It's not going to absorb into the rock itself like maybe quartz will, but there is a little bit of maintenance that you're going to have to do to it, and that is basically just seal it once a year, just so that way it is always going to be in that really good condition. And if you do spill something on it, say like wine or something along the lines of that would stain, you're not going to have that issue. Now, as we're leaving the kitchen area, there's a feature on this house that I really like. It's actually got a sunroom that was built off the back of it, and it is a vaulted ceiling with this wood beam that runs straight down the middle, and it's just a really cool feeling in here. The ceiling makes it feel like a really open, airy space to where you're actually connected with the backyard. Now, this room has actually been finished as well with some new windows, and it's also got a wood burning fireplace. You also have access to open the door and step out onto your backyard. And back there, you actually do have a lot of features as well. So believe it or not, this house actually has a working waterfall with a pond, and there's fish that swim around in the pond year round. And it's a really cool opportunity for someone to go outside and just feel like they're at peace with nature. And with this being on a cul-de-sac, you're going to have a little bit extra space with the lots being more of a pie shape. So there's plenty of space for additional seating if you want to throw that out there. You've got a shed back there. And then there's also a little space that's fenced off that used to be a Zen garden for the person who lived here previously. So if you wanted to revamp that, you definitely could, or if you wanted to turn it into more of a trendy seating area, you definitely could do that as well. Now, also off of the sunroom is going to be your access to your 2-car garage, and there's a little bit more space besides just being able to fit 2 cars in there, so you don't have to worry about that. And as we start to work our way back through the kitchen and down over into the hallway area where the left wing of the house is, you're gonna have a newer updated bathroom where it's got a jetted tub. You've got tile floors that are reminiscent of a wood style, but it is tile, so you don't have to worry about those getting wet. And in the shower, you actually have a tub to ceiling tiled wall. So that is another one of those things where it's gonna be almost maintenance free. You just have to seal it once a year and then you'll pretty much be good. And then as far as the bedrooms go, they're pretty regular as far as what you'll find in Parma. You're going to have more than enough space for a bed and a dresser, and then you've also got a closet in each one. However, there is something cool about this back bedroom where the previous owner actually plumbed it, so that way you could have laundry on the first floor and you won't have to go down into the basement at all. And then for the biggest bedroom, you've also got access to a half bath that is attached to it. So you can either get to that half bath from the kitchen or you can go from the bedroom. So that's gonna be the first house on our list that we are gonna tour today that would fit as a perfect downsize for someone who is thinking about staying in the Cleveland area. So now we're gonna head over into Brook Park, where there's another house that we have listed for less than $250, and it is actually sitting right at $199, so it's even lower than this one. So I'm gonna head over that way. It's about 15 minutes north of here, so it's not gonna be a far commute at all, but definitely make sure you stick around that one. All right, so we're heading to this next house, and I am in my Subaru, so you are gonna have to forgive me. The ride's a little bumpy, it might be a little loud. However, I think if you're trying to downsize in this area, it's the perfect time to do it. However, if you are starting to think about downsizing, I don't really think there's a perfect time to do it. It's just one of those things where you have to jump into it when it's time. But if you have a house to sell, statistically, the majority of the time, the winter is going to be a little bit slower than the summer. However, when you do sell in the winter, the people who are buying during the winter are going to be a lot more serious. So take that with a grain of salt on whether there is a good time or not to sell. Me personally, I don't ever think there is a bad time to sell. It just really depends on what your scenario is and how you're looking at the market. So we're at the second listing now for houses that are able to downsize into, that are under $250,000 in the greater Cleveland area. And this one, like I said, is in Brook Park, and it's listed right around that 200,000 mark. So you're not really gonna have to worry about being super close to the 250 mark. If you need to be a little bit under it, it's totally attainable as well. Now let's head inside and see what this one's got to offer and how it compares to the other one over in Parma. Now this house is a cool option because it's got a lot of upgrades that were done to it, but it's also still a little bit in outdated condition where you can make improvements to it that are worthwhile because of the price that it's at. Outside, this house has had some waterproofing done to it as well. So over on the right side of the house, you're gonna have a new drain tile that has been installed, and it wraps around the back of the house. So you're not really gonna have to worry about any drainage issues there. The exterior on this home is gonna be totally maintenance free because it's a brick exterior, and this roof is only about 5 years old as well. It's had new gutters put on it. The garage was built in the last, I'd say, 15 years. It almost looks like new inside. And then you also have a newer deck on the back of the property as well. So you have some yard space, but it's not too much to maintain. So you really have the opportunity for a very low maintenance exterior. Now this house has had some updates to it over the years, like I said, and this actually used to have an attached garage on it, and they converted that into a little living area. And over there, you're gonna find a gas fireplace along with some extra seating area that you can use for maybe a little book nook, or if you have some grandchildren that need to put their toys, you have the opportunity to do so as well. And as you work your way over into the living area, which is where you're gonna enter from most likely, unless you're coming through the back door. And when you step into the house, you have access to the very open living room. You can go over into the bedroom area very easily, which has the bathroom. And then you can also go over into the kitchen area super easily. So in the living room, you've got this huge window that overlooks the front yard as well, similar to the one in Parma. And you're gonna be able to keep an eye on what's going outside. And then you also have a wood burning fireplace in here, which is super cool because it gives you that opportunity to keep the fire going during Christmas time and in the winter, and also another heating source if you wanted to use it as that. Now, as we start to work our way further into the house, off of the living room, you're going to have your kitchen, and this kitchen is a little bit outdated. The cabinets have been painted and the hardware has been updated, but the countertop and the sink could use a little bit of love. If you wanted to replace it, you have the opportunity to do so. If you wanted to leave it as is, you definitely could do that as well. Now, as far as the appliances go, they are definitely older as well. So I would probably recommend getting something a little bit new just so you have that clean, fresh feeling when you move in here. Off of the other side of the living room, you are going to have your access to the bedrooms and the bathroom, like I said. Over here, the bedrooms aren't too bad as far as the size go. You definitely have enough space for a queen bed, I would say, and maybe some dressers, or a king bed and no dressers. It's kind of a tight squeeze in this scenario, so keep that in mind if you're starting to look at the 200,000 range. The houses are going to get a little bit smaller. This one's sitting at right around 1,200 square feet. It's still a 3-bedroom, but the rooms are just a little bit smaller. Now, as far as the bathroom goes, it has been slightly updated as well. You've got the tile floors and a tub that's been re-epoxied, but it's still got the old surround on it. And then you also have got the new vanity that matches the modern look that most people are shooting for nowadays. So you at least have the touches that are going to matter. And everything is still in very good condition. It's not like this is going to need to be replaced within the next 2 years. It's definitely something that is going to last a little while. Now, jumping back to the back side of the house where the kitchen is, you are going to have your access to the basement. So from there, you can either step outside onto your covered patio, or you can work your way down into the basement. The basement in this house is a really great spot to hang out just because it is partially finished. On the right side, you have a carpeted area, and it's also got wood paneling throughout. The furnace in this place is definitely a lot newer compared to a lot of the other places that you're going to be able to check out in the Parma and Brook Park area. So that is a convenience factor. And then to top it all off, down here you also have another full bathroom. So you're not going to have to walk upstairs to go to the bathroom. And that's one of those things that you don't realize that you want until you have it. Now, this bathroom is almost brand new. It's got a new shower that was put into it, and then you've got a new toilet and vanity in there. So it's been updated to what it should be, and you're probably not going to have any issues with that in the near future as well. Over off on the other side of the basement is where you're going to find your laundry. So you do have to go downstairs on this one. But since this house is a ranch style home, you have the opportunity to pretty easily plumb it in. If you wanted to put it on the first floor somewhere, you could probably get it in the kitchen area, or if you wanted to squeeze it into one of the bedroom closets, you might be able to do so as well. But that is something that a contractor is going to have to come through and give you a rough idea as we're walking through these houses. However, I'm going to leave that to the professionals just because they're going to be able to get you a price and make it a little more accurate for yourself. So my goal for this video was to show you that it is entirely possible to find a house that is suitable for a downsize for what someone might be looking for if they were trying to do so. And if you are starting to think about making a move, definitely reach out to me because I'm going to be able to help you make a personalized plan so that way you can accomplish your goals as smoothly as possible. And that way we don't hit any road bumps and make it a very easy transaction for you. Now, even if you are not planning to do so very soon, I can definitely help guide you and start getting a game plan together. And if you are needing to do so very soon, even within a couple weeks, I can help cater towards that as well. Now, you can find all of my contact information down in the description, and while you're down there, definitely click that like button because it's going to help me out a ton, and also hit subscribe because it is going to keep you up to date with everything that is going on in the greater Cleveland area. I make weekly videos that just give you updates on the real estate market and what it's like to live here, so be sure to do that before you go as well. Now, with all of that being said, I'm going to leave the video there. I'll catch you in the next one.